Today we're filming off location for our first Apocalypse game between Greg's Adeptus Astartes and Joe's Aeldari. We're doing a 450 power level game, so each army is 225 because we're playing on a 6x6. And we're just going to be doing Race to Destruction since it's the simplest of the Apocalypse missions. There are 6 objectives. Each one of them is worth 1 victory point at the end of the turn. We're not doing attacker or defender for this because both armies are the same power level. And then you score 1 victory point for each super heavy destroyed, and if the enemy war master is destroyed, and then whoever has the most points wins. Let's begin with Greg talking about his army.
For the Apocalypse game today, I'm going to be running Adeptus Astartes. I'm going to be running 4 detachments. I've got a spearhead, a battalion, and 2 vanguard detachments. We'll start over on the Dark Angels, which is the spearhead. I have 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and I'm adding in power level for the Onslaught Gatling Cannon instead of the Heavy Flamer, and they're equipped with the Macro Plasma instead of the Onslaught Gatling Cannon, and then I also have 1 more power rating I'm paying for the Icarus Rocket Pod on them. Then I have 3 10-man squads of Hellblasters, and then for HQ support, I have a pair of lieutenants as one choice, and then a Primaris Master. Onto the battalion, I have 3 10-man squads of intercessors. I have a 6-man aggressor squad in the back. And then for HQ, I have Marnius Calgar and a librarian and 2 Primaris lieutenants, and then for the elites I have the Apothecary and the Victrix Honor Guard. Onto the Vanguard detachment, I have 3 5-man Terminator Assault Squads, paying the extra power rating for the Thunderhammer and Storm Shields, and then they're led by Captain Lysander. And then finally onto the Reaver Squad, I have 3 5-man squads that are paying the extra power rating for the grapnel launchers to give them infiltrators. And then I have a Primaris Librarian that's paying the extra 2 power rating for the Phobos armor, and it gives him the infiltrator and stealth keyword.
For the Eldari, I'm running 7 detachments, 2 battalions, a vanguard, and then 2 super heavy auxiliary detachments, and 2 airwing detachments. I'll begin with my Drakari battalion detachment. I've got Lilith Hesperax and a Succubus for the HQ choices. And then the troops are 2 10-man witch squads and then 1 5-man witch squad. For transports for all of them, I've got 3 Venoms and 2 Raiders. And then I've got a 15-man unit of Hellions. And then 2 6-man squads of Reavers with 2 blasters each. Moving on to the Eldari battalion, I've got a Farseer and a Warlock Conclave for the HQs. The troops are my standard unit of 10 Guardians and 2 5-man squads of Dire Avengers. As a transport, I'm bringing along a Wave Serpent. For the Vanguard detachment, it's being led by a Spirit Seer. And for the choices, I've got a 5-man unit of Howling Banshees, a 5-man unit of Striking Scorpions, and then a 5-man unit of Wraith Blades with the Ghost Swords. I also have a Wraith Lord and the Avatar of Cain. For the 2 super heavy auxiliary detachments, I've got 2 Wraith Knights kitted out identically with the default loadout. And then for the Airwing detachments, I have a Hemlock Wraith Fighter for 1, and the other is a Razorwing Jet Fighter.
So deployment has just wrapped up, and both armies are in the field. Before that, we talk about that though, we got the objectives. So we got one of them here, another one here on Joe's side, another one on Joe's side, another one on Joe's side. one there, and the last one there. So Greg deployed first.
For my deployment, I have the Space West Vanguard detachment here with just as a commander, since they'll be infiltrating in next turn. The Ultramarines detachment over here has my War Master, Marnius Calgar, and he got Master Strategist, which lets me increase my 10-card deck to a 12-card deck. And then the Dark Angel's Spearhead is deployed over here, and the Imperial Fist's Vanguard is Deep Strike Reserve.
For the Eldari, I've got the Drakari clustered on the left side of my deployment area. I've got Lilith as my army's War Master, and she has the Righteous Fury for a +1 attack, warlord trait, or whatever it's called. In the center, I've got my 2 super heavy Wraith Knights right by the Spirit Seer, and I'm running them as Eandon, so they get to reroll ones to hit from the Spirit Seer. Both of the Airwing detachments are just in the center as well, since they don't need any help. And then on this side, I've got my Eandon battalion detachment with the unit of Guardians and the Farseer inside the Wave Serpent. And all of the Drakari are currently inside of their transports.
So the last thing to do is to roll for initiative.
And a D6 or a D12?
It's a D12 for you,
Okay.
because you deployed first. Joe only gets to roll a D6, and the highest goes first. A tie, Greg wins.
Eldari.
It's a tie. So Greg goes first.
All right.
Command assets were just drawn. So Joe got these. And Greg got these.
Marnius was unable to generate his extra one out of 4+.
And reserves came in.
Yes. The Terminators with Lysander decided to deep strike in the back corner and a little bit more forward front to try to get on that Wave Serpent.
And then orders were all issued, and they have yet to be revealed. So we got to reveal them all, and then Greg will get to choose the unit to act first.
So let's flip these bad boys over. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, an assault one. I can't believe it.
I've got move order, move order, move order, and in the back corner, an assault order.
Got an assault order for the Drakari detachment, an assault order for the Vanguard detachment, move orders for the 2 Airwing detachments, what is it, Focus Aim or something, for the 2 Super Heavies, and then a move order for the Asbarani to try and escape from the Terminators.
So which detachment are you going to activate first, Greg?
The Terminators. I'm activating my Imperial Fists. They're assaulting, so they're going to be able to move 10 inches. We resolved all the attacks onto the Warlocks. I got 1 large blast marker. And then onto the building, I got 1 small blast marker and 1 large blast marker. And then onto the Wave Serpent, I got 1 small blast marker.
What detachment are you going to activate in response?
Activating the Eldar battalion to move.
So you're going to be falling back.
Falling back with the Wave Serpent and the Warlock Conclave from the combats they're in. Dire Avengers don't need to move since they can already still shoot. Unit of Dire Avengers fired into this unit of Terminators and managed to put a small blast marker. The other unit managed to do nothing. And then fire from the Wave Serpent managed to put a small blast marker onto this unit of Terminators.
So Greg gets to activate his next detachment.
The Dark Angel Spearhead is going to move forward and then see if I have range on anything to shoot. The Dark Angel Spearhead moved forward. Both Redemptors supercharged and fired their macros at the Wraith Lord. Is it a Lord? Knight. And I inflicted 1 small blast marker.
And then everyone else is out of range.
Everybody else was out of range.
Back to Joe's detachments.
I'll activate the Eandon Colored Knight. And decent rolling for the heavy Wraith Cannons from the Wraith Knight. Managed to put 2 large blast markers onto the left Redemptor.
Not that one. That one. Not that one, Greg.
This one?
Yes.
So my right.
Yeah. There. And now it's Greg's detachment again. I guess Ultramarines are the only one to...
Ultramarines Battalion's going to move up and then probably not shoot at anything because it probably won't be in range, but I'll check that one. The Ultramarines, intercessors in the front, were able to shoot at the Wraith Blades and inflict one small blast marker.
Gonna activate this Wraith Knight, and I'm gonna fire one of the Wraith Cannons at each of the Redemptors. Managed to put another large blast marker on the injured one, and successfully got one on the other one.
Next attachment, Greg.
My last attachment, the Space Wolf Librarian.
What's
Gonna move. The Space Wolf Librarian over here cast Smite and was able to put a large blast marker over on the Eldar Reapers, Drakari Reapers. Reapers. Dark Reapers.
So that is your last attachment, right, Greg?
That was.
Alright, so
I'm all
Joe gets
done.
to go through all of it.
Activate the Vanguard detachment next.
What? That's in advance order?
Yeah. After completing their assault order, I was able to get the Vanguard detachment significantly closer to Greg's Imperial Fist detachment. And then only the Striking Scorpions were in range for their Azerani special rule, and I managed to put on one wound, one small blast marker onto this squad of Terminators. Next up, I will activate the Hemlock, and it will move out. Hemlock moved over behind Greg's squad of Terminators and managed to do a full large blast worth of damage to them. Razorwing moved over to join the Hemlock. The two Dark Lance shots onto the less injured Redemptor managed to do another large blast, and the combination of its twin splinter rifle and its missiles managed to do a full blast marker to this squad of Terminators, which just leaves the battalion detachment of Drakari to go. The Drakari have completed their assault move, or whatever it's called, significantly further up the field, and I've managed to secure both of these objectives with them.
So every detachment has been issued orders, so I think we're on to the damage phase.
Finished up the damage phase, managed to successfully make the saves for the Wave Serpent, the Wraith Blades, and the Wraith Knight. Warlocks failed there, so they're down to one of their 2 wounds, so they're critically damaged.
Yeah, so put a critically damaged marker. It's just the other side of it.
And then the unit of Dire Avengers is just dead. They only have a 8-up save.
Okay. Over here, I lost one of my Redemptors, and the other one took 1 wound and made his leadership.
Yeah, and the
all the Terminators passed their leadership with flying colors. Lysander used a special ability to move one of the blast markers off the other unit.
Going on to turn 2. So it's roll off with a d12. Joe wins ties.
Okay.
Zelda.
7.
9.
Greg will go first again.
All right.
Forgot to mention at the end of the last damage phase, I failed the save, but I successfully made the feel no pain equivalent roll for the unit of Reavers, so they're fine.
And on to turn 2. Greg's Reavers infiltrated.
Yep, they came in from reserve over here, away from the Reavers and close to their commander, which is the Librarian.
And then command assets were drawn.
My 5 new assets are over here on the right, and all I've used so far is Smite.
Yeah, and Calgar again failed. You didn't?
Yes, he rolled a 1.
Okay. So orders have been issued, and Greg has the initiative. So which detachment do you want to activate first?
Well, do we flip them all over now so that...
Oh, yes, that's true.
See, so let's just flip them all over so you guys can see what we're doing. So I've got a move and shoot, or move, salt, And Lysander's unit over here will also be assaulting.
Got both the flyers have their advance that they're forced to take. Battalion for the Eldari. Their Azurani have a move. Move on this Wraith Knight. Move on this Wraith Knight. Assault on the Vanguard detachment. And then a move on the Drakari battalion.
Alright, so now which detachment do you want to activate?
I'm going to activate the Imperial Fists.
I'm going to seize the initiative.
All right.
And I'm going to select my Vanguard.
So
I've
it's a
got,
command asset that does what?
Command asset that I can, when Greg selects one of his detachments to carry out an order, I can interrupt with one of mine that has not yet carried out its orders.
Go get a
And
counter.
then I'm going to use Adamantium Well. This command asset can be used when your opponent uses a command asset. Oh no, I can't. It's only a psychic power. If that was a psychic power, I could have gotten there.
Alright,
So yeah, go ahead.
So who you're activating the Azurani? Or
The Vanguard detachment. And they will assault in on that one squad of Terminators they can reach. With all of their attacks, the entire Vanguard detachment managed to do 4 large blast markers to that single unit of Terminators.
oh, you use the command asset?
I use guided Wraith Sight so that the Wraith constructs within 12 inches of the Spirit Seer get to reroll d12s instead of d6s for their to hits. And right now, the closer Wraith Knight is in range of that, but the other one isn't.
4 blasts on large blast on him is pretty good though. So now Joe's interruption is done. So Greg now gets to activate his fists.
All right. It's an assault. So, in response, the Imperial Fists did a large blast marker onto the Wraith Lord. And then the next squad did 1 small blast marker onto the Warlocks. And then the next squad did 1 small blast onto the Wave Serpent. And Lysander did no damage at all.
So what detachment is next for you, Joe?
I'll activate the Drakari battalion. Completed all the attacks from the Drakari battalion. Managed to put 5 large blast markers on that front intercessor squad with the majority of the fire from over here. The 2 Dark Lances on the Raiders fired at the Redemptor and managed to do a large blast marker to it. For the Reavers, moved into combat with one of the units and managed to do a small blast marker to this squad. And the back squad shooting managed to do a large blast marker to the rear Reaver squad.
And which detachment are you going to activate in response?
I'm going to activate my Ultramarines battalion, but I'm going to change up my order using tactical flexibility, and I'm going to do aimed fire.
Nice. So you can't move, but you'll be getting +1 to hit.
Mm-hmm. Ultramarines aimed and fired over here, and did the aggressors over here did a large and a small to the back venom there, and then this back squad of intercessors did a small
Blast marker?
Yeah, to that.
Where are they? Oh, they could.
Yeah.
Oh, they're perfectly.
And then everything else fired and did 3 large blast markers on the Hellions in the back.
Nice. The Hellions are probably gone.
Probably.
And that was that.
How are you going to respond?
I will activate this Wraith Knight next. Wraith Knight just moved over to camp on top of the objective and then managed to do 2 large blast markers to the Redemptor.
The Space Wolves are going to assault. The Librarian couldn't make it into combat, so he just moved around into the backfield. All the Reavers attacked the bikes and inflicted 2 large blast markers.
Next up.
Activate the other Wraith Knight. Move the Wraith Knight a bit to keep it within range of objective number 5, but to get its Wraith Cannons in range of the Redemptor and the Chapter Master for the Dark Angels. Failed to do anything to the Chapter Master, but did another large blast marker to the Redemptor.
And who's up next, Greg? Or is that all you? No, you're the Dark Angels.
Of the Dark Angels, yeah. This whole unit fired over in the Dark Eldar Battalion, except for the Dread. He split fire, so he fired his anti-air over in the Flyer, and then he fired his anti-infantry into the Hellions, and he fired his plasma into here. So damage-wise, the Dread did nothing on the Flyer. He put one more small, making it a large onto this Raider, and he put another large onto the Hellions. And then the squads, in order, put a small blast marker on this front one, put a large blast marker on the back one, put a small blast marker on the middle, and put a blast marker on themselves. So they shot really well with the re-rolling the ones and supercharging for the +1 damage, but they still hurt themselves. They couldn't get away from it.
The Hellions are already dead, Greg. Leave them alone.
No, I need more blast markers out of them. But that's everything for the Adeptus Astartes, so you just get to finish up.
Yeah, last two things for me would just be the 2 Flyer. Completed the order for both of the Flyers. They just moved up. The Hemlock fired both of its shots into that front intercessor squad and managed to do another large blast marker to it. The Razor Wing put all of its fire into the Hellblaster squad that damaged itself and managed to do 2 large blast markers to it. And I actually have 1 detachment left to go with this one that is currently mostly in combat. Not too much damage from the Azerani battalion. The Farseer charged the squad of Terminators. That's taken a bunch of damage so far. Failed to do anything. Wave Serpent ran away and then fired back at this squad of Terminators and managed to do a small blast marker. And then the Dire Avengers fire into them, made it a large blast marker. Warlock Conclave managed to do 1 small blast marker to that squad of Terminators. And that is all of the detachments.
Okay. So we got damage to resolve.
Finished up the damage phase and rolling for leadership. Warlocks managed to not take any more damage this time. They made theirs. Wraithlord is fine. Wave Serpent is also fine. For the Drakari, they suffered quite a few casualties. The entire unit of Hellions is gone.
That's the destiny, is to be removed every game without doing anything. Did they get a shoot at least?
They shot one. They're gone. This front unit of Reavers is gone. And then both Raiders took a wound, so they're down to just 1, and then both of the front Venoms are dead.
So you got guys in there to disembark?
Yeah.
I would go ahead and do that, but roll your d6s for see if you take damage.
Small. Takes small. Lilith's good. I'll do that. You do.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This front squad of Marines died.
They made their feel no pain.
So no casualties from the vehicles?
And then the Redemptor died.
And then just your Hellblasters took a wound, right?
Yes. And the Reaver over there. The Reaver squad took a wound.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so they're
From
at
the
half
Reavers.
strength. Yeah.
And I successfully forgot to remove D3 large blast markers with my apothecary from my intercessor squad.
You can take a D3?
Yeah,
It's like
double
super
check.
good.
Where is he? Maybe it's just small blasts. Let's see. What does it say?
Yeah, with D3 small blast is only ever going to do 1, because you can only have 1 small blast. Unless it's a D30, and they do count as multiple.
Yeah, it just says on a 4+ remove 1 damage marker
Okay.
from that light unit.
Right.
So
Oh,
it
that's
says
a 30.
damage marker, so I guess it'd be a large one, right?
I don't know if... It might be damage marker.
But I
large.
failed enough that it wouldn't have mattered
Yeah,
anyway.
no, they had like 6 large blasts on them.
Yeah.
So lots of Drakari casualties, but the Azerani are
There you go.
the Azerani are going strong. They haven't taken. You lost the 1 squad, but everyone else is still like at full hit points over here. Although you also did nothing to the Terminators. There's not a single wound. So all that's happened in here is a 5-man squad of Dire Avengers died.
And a wound on the Warlocks.
Yeah, wound on the Warlocks. That looks like it's on the Terminators. It's actually on the Warlocks.
So,
So,
initiative.
yeah, turn 3. So initiative.
Eldari.
12.
Greg again. So it's turn 3, and the new command assets have been drawn. Here are Joe's current state.
Over here, my new
Greg's.
ones are on the left. And I had used one to dig through my deck and take out Miraculous Escape. And then reshuffle it.
And Greg has initiative, so he can choose the first detachment.
First we
So
reveal.
first we reveal everything. We got to move here. A take aim here. An assault there. And the Terminators will also have an assault.
For the Eldari, gotta move for the Eldar Battalion. Assault for the Vanguard Detachment. Move advanced tokens for the 2 Wraith Knights. It'll be 2 advanced tokens for the 2 Flyers. And then for the Drakari, it will be a assault.
Or what's this one over here?
I don't know.
Extra.
Alright. And then I will activate the Imperial Fists first again. The Imperial Fist squads onto the Warlock whiffed and did nothing. Lysander did no damage also. And then the 2 other squads were able to put 1 large blast marker on the Wraith Lord.
What are you thinking of, Joe?
I will activate the Drakari Detachment next. Spent 2 command assets, combat drugs to be able to roll d6s instead of d12s for the hit rolls, and then finest hour to boost Lilith's attacks and her to wounds and give her weapons the destroyer ability. Between her and the squad of witches, they managed to put 4 large blast markers on that squad of intercessors out front. The 2 raiders that assaulted him did nothing. And the Reavers that went into the Reavers managed to do 1 small blast marker.
Who will you activate, Greg?
I am going to activate my Dark Angels. At the beginning of my turn, I used Orbital Barrage card, and I did a ton of blast markers, much more so than my Terminators have done over there, to a bunch of stuff. So the Wraith Knight took a large, the Wave Serpent took a small, the Avatar took a small.
No, the Avatar took a large.
He
You
took
get
a large.
the Wraith
okay.
Knight and Avatar
Okay.
can swap.
And then the Howling Banshees took a small, and then
The Wraith
the
Blades.
Wraith Blades took a small.
Yeah.
So that wasn't bad. And then I supercharged everything and fired at the other Wraith Knight and did a large and a small from all the Hell Blasters, and they didn't hurt themselves, which was really kind of nice.
I'll activate the Vanguard Detachment in close combat. Finished up with all of the attacks from the Vanguard onto the Terminators. At the start of the action, I used the Bind War command asset, baited Greg's Adamantium Will,
But it didn't go off, so I went back into my deck.
managed to do a small blast marker with that, and then I used Doom to be able to reroll to wound against that Terminator squad, and then with everyone's attacks on it, I managed to get 6.5 damage markers onto it. It's a total of 7 damage markers on it currently. That's everything from them.
I'm going to end up activating my Space Wolves, but first I'm going to use a card, Honor of the Chapter. This command asset can be used in the action phase. When you select 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army, that unit makes 1 free fight action. Whilst making this action, you can reroll wound rolls for that unit's attacks. So I'm going to use it back over on these guys, on the Warlocks. Two hits. One small blast marker.
Yeah, that was very good.
Nope. All right. Now these guys. I used the Force Sword on the Librarian to go after Lilith, so he put a large blast on her. The Wounded Reaver squad over here did nothing, And then the other 2 Reaver squads inflicted a large and a small blast on the bikes.
I will activate my Wraith Knight here next. Since there weren't really any good targets for the Wraith Knight, just fired both the Wraith Cannons at the Dark Angel Chapter Master and failed to do any damage.
The Ultramarines are going to use Codex Discipline and swap out to assaults. Move in. Charged in. Calgar attacked the Raider and did nothing. And then the Victrix Guard rolled the hit and missed and did nothing. Then the Librarian rolled the hit and missed and did nothing. Then the Lieutenant on top did 1 small blast marker to the Raider. Then the aggressors moved up onto this crate over here and struck down at Lilith and did a large blast and a small blast. And then these intercessors also attacked Lilith and did a large blast to her. Is that thorough enough for that? I should have done with it. And that's it.
I'll activate the Hemlock next. Hemlock flew over the Dark Angel force and managed to do a large blast marker to the previously shot at squad of Hellblasters.
Do you have any more units, Greg? Have yours all gone?
No, mine have all gone.
Okay.
It's only Joe's left.
I'll go with the Razorwing next. Razorwing flew over the Dark Angels as well and failed to do any damage to that squad of Hellblasters targeted by the Hemlock. Over here, Wraith Knight assaulted into the squad of Terminators and managed to do a large blast marker and a small blast marker on them. His 2 Wraith Cannons fired into the Hellblaster squad and did 2 large blast markers to them. For the 2 remaining units here, the Farseer did no damage to that squad, and the Warlocks did 1 small blast marker to the other squad. Wave Serpent just moved out of the way so the Wraith Knight could get in.
So that is every detachment activated. So now on to the damage phase.
I lost this squad of intercessors over here. So if I can pull the models out without knocking a bunch of stuff over. Okay. They're gone. I lost 1 squad, the damaged squad of Hellblasters. They've been annihilated. And I finally lost a squad of Terminators. Joking.
Which
Yep, they finally died.
only took like 16 wounds.
That's right.
What about you, Joe?
For the Eldari, lost a wound on the Wraith Lord. Managed to do well for the saves on this side. The other Wraith Knight took 2 wounds, down to only 2, I think. On this side of the board, the unit of Reavers has been wiped out. Lilith has been killed.
And she was your War Master, right?
Yep.
So that's a victory point to Greg.
So Succubus is going to be getting a promotion. And then, which raider was it? And this raider has been destroyed. And I won't be able to deploy the witches out. So I think they're just dead.
Surrounded.
So that's so we're tied on objectives right now.
Yep, and 2 more things. I'm using capture and control, so when the Dark Angels leave this objective until Joe grabs it, it'll remain mine. And this unit of Space Wolves was damaged, so they're at half strength.
So you each control 2 objectives, so no victory points there. So you were still at 1 point, right?
I control 3.
Oh, you control 3. Okay, so you're at 2, and then Greg is at 1 victory point because he killed Lilith. And then initiative for turn 4.
I get it again.
Every time. Space Marines are always
We draw
first.
cards. So this is turn 4, correct?
Yep.
All right. Space Wolves going to fight. Ultramarines going to fight. Dark Angels use secret agenda, so you don't know what they're doing.
Both of the flyers are going to advance, because that's all they can do. The Vanguard detachment is going to fight. Farseer's battalion is going to move. And the 2 Wraith Knights are going to advance. and the unit of Drakari are going to fight.
What about the
Lysander's
fists?
unit is going to attack.
Oh my god. This is shocking. So
All
who are
right.
you activating first, Gary?
I will activate the Imperial Fists. The Imperial Fists have only put a small blast marker onto the Warlocks, and nobody else did any damage in their combats.
I will activate the Drakari Battalion. With very few attacks, the Drakari Battalion did no damage, except for the Raider successfully did one small blast marker to Calga.
The Ultramarines are going to fight. They're moving in. Over here, the aggressors were able to do a small blast marker to the Raider. And then both lieutenants ended up doing a combined large blast to this squad over here. And then with the Apothecary, Marnius Calgar, the Librarian, and the Victrix Guard, I was able to put 2 large blasts on the Succubus. And then the Intercessors were able to get a large blast onto the Venom.
I will activate my super heavy detachment of this Wraith Knight next. Managed to get 1 lucky shot through and put 1 wound onto the Chapter Master, and with his punching managed to do a large blast to the Squad of Terminators.
I am going to activate my Space Wolves, which are fight. All the Reaver squads over here were able to put 1 more large blast marker onto the Witches because they're injured.
I will activate my Hemlock next. Since he auto hits, Hemlock managed to do 1 large blast marker to the Chapter Master.
You're done, right?
No, I've got Dark Angels to activate. Dark Angels are going to activate, and they're going to attack, which lets them move the double move. And they're going to go for this other objective.
Ran through all my remaining detachments. Managed to do a total of 3 large blast markers to this squad of Terminators.
From the Wraith Lord and King.
Yeah, from combination of the 2 of them and the Dire Avengers that assaulted him. Don't know if they actually did anything. Over here, the Razorwing managed to do a small blast marker to one of the Hellblaster squads, and then the Wraith Blades, the Striking Scorpions, the Spirit Seer, and the Howling Banshees all went in. Managed to do a total of 2 large blast markers to this squad, and 1 to this squad. The Wave Serpent just moved over to claim that objective. Wraith Knight moved over to grab that one, and I used the command asset Tears of Ice, however you say it, to re-heal it up to full.
Did he shoot at anyone?
He fired and failed to do any damage against one of the Hellblaster squads.
So all detachments have been activated, so we just have to resolve the damage.
Yes.
End of the morale, successfully managed to make the save on the Warlocks.
The Terminator squad died. The Hellblasters made both their saves. The other squad took 1 wound. The Primaris Master died, so the Lieutenant is going to take his place as the commander. And then over here, everything on the Ultramarines and Space Wolves side survived.
For the Drakari, everything except the 5-man unit of witches is dead.
So those witches are now their own command. And then on, victory points, objectives, you have 3 of them. And
I have 3 also, I think, right? Well, they're not troops, but I've got 1, 2, 3. Just 3. Yeah.
And then how many do you have? 1, 2, 3.
1, 2.
And then there's the Farseer, and then a Banshee's in range? No.
Okay. So Greg has that.
Okay. So then it's 3 to 3.
3.
So no command points, so it's still 2 to 1 in favor of the Eldar. Initiative for turn 5.
Eldar.
So the new command assets have been drawn. For Joe.
Mine are over on the other side in the 1 column.
Which column?
the left. Calgar got his extra one.
Is that his first one?
No, second time. And then revealing orders. Imperial Fists are going to fight again, of course.
Vanguard Detachment's gonna fight.
Fight.
Battalion's gonna fight.
Space Wolves fight. Ultramarines aim fire. And the Dark Angels fight.
Lots of fighting.
Okay.
So who will fight first?
I'll activate first with the Space Wolves. All of the Reavers and the Librarian attacked this 5-man squad and were able to put one small blast mark on it.
That's all.
I will activate the Vanguard Detachment for the Azurani. Use the command asset Vortex Grenade from the Spirit Seer onto this squad. Managed to do only one small blast marker. And then I used Quicken to have the Wraith Lord from over here do a move action, and then he assaulted in to that squad of Hellblasters. And between everyone's attacks, managed to turn this into a large blast marker and put a large and a small blast marker on the other squad.
I'm going to activate Dark Angels and fight back. I was able to put one small blast marker onto the Howling Banshees and a large blast marker onto the Wraith Blades.
Wraith Knight will get activated next. Wraith Knight actually has no targets for his guns, so he just assaulted in here and managed to do a large blast marker to the Terminators.
The Imperial Fists over here are going to activate. They do a large blast to the Warlocks and a small blast to the Farseer from Lysander.
Activating the battalion for Yazurani. They have 3 remaining units, managed to do no damage over here, and there is no target for the Wave Server.
The Ultramarines fired, and the Intercessors were actually the only ones that did any damage to the Wraith Knight, and they inflicted one large blast marker on it.
I'll activate the Wraith Knight next.
Who's he attacking?
Wraith Knight is just going to do some pot shots at Calgar. Managed to get off one lucky pot shot at Calgar and did a large blast to him.
Okay.
Then it's just the Flyers left. Combined firepower from both of the Flyers managed to do only one large blast marker to that Intercessor squad.
And that's every detachment being activated?
Yep.
That's a cleanup.
In the morale phase, Farseer failed and was gone. Wraith Knight managed to make their save. Howling Banshees was fine. Wraith Blades are fine. And the unit of Witches I forgot to even activate, but they probably wouldn't have done anything. If they did, failed, and they're gone.
Did you give them a order? Or did you just forget to act out their order?
I gave them the fight order. I forgot to act it out.
The Terminators made their saves and their leaderships, and the Hellblaster units both took one wound. It puts the one squad down to half, but it doesn't matter at this point.
Yep.
And they made their leaderships and all that.
Yeah, it's the end of turn 5, and there's no rolling to see if it goes on to turn 6 or anything. So Greg still controls 3 objectives, and Joe still has 3, but the score is 2-1 in Joe's favor. So the Eldar would be victorious against the combined Ultramarines.
Alright, Space
Adeptus
Space
Astartes. Against the Adeptus Astartes,
Well,
essentially. It's an all Adeptus Astartes list.
Yeah. But you might as well just call them all Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Any opinions on Apocalypse or anything?
I thought it was cool. I mean, it definitely takes longer than you'd think, but it's way faster than it used to be. Knowing now, I think we could both make much better lists, but it was kind of fun to both run crummy lists against each other. I really had nothing to deal with the Wraith Knights, but they really didn't have a ton of damage to do to me.
The problem is the Wraith Knights had nothing to deal with.
Yeah, well, it seems like the weapons are more polarized in Apocalypse. Like the Wraith Knight, what are they, D-cannons? Or heavy D-cannons?
Heavy Wraith Cannons.
Heavy Wraith Cannons. Like, they don't do anything against infantry.
I mean, you were definitely able to take my 2 Dreads out earlier. I could definitely have built a better deck of cards, although there were some interesting cards in there. And I could have utilized the cards a lot better, I think, but it being the first time, it was tough to realize what options you had available to yourself. Did you run into that problem also, Joe?
A little bit.
Yeah, I think the biggest benefit to Apocalypse is it seems like it's a lot faster than it used to be, even if it's still really long.